The integration of ICT in education is a dynamic and evolving process that involves multiple stages. Each step plays a critical role in ensuring that digital tools effectively support teaching and learning. Step 3 of the ICT integration framework, which is identifying constraints, is particularly significant as it highlights the real world challenges that impact the successful use of technology in classrooms. These constraints may include technical issues, limited access to resources, insufficient training, or time related pressures that hinder seamless implementation. Understanding and addressing these barriers is essential for educators and school leaders to make informed decisions, create realistic plans, and develop sustainable strategies for effective use of ICT. I am Divine Grace B. Peralta from Mind Science, your reporter this afternoon. Goldratt's theory of constraints is divided into three steps. The first step is what to change. This is about to identify the real constraint. This step is about finding the real bottleneck that's limiting the progress. So in school, it's easy to assume that the problem is always on the lack of time, money, and motivation that limiting the progress in ICT integration, but oftentimes it's about the unclear policies, limited teacher training, inconsistent technology access, and the poor communication or leadership. The goal here is to really dig deeper and identify the root cause, not just the visible symptom. Step 2, what to change. This is about now finding a better approach. So once you know the constraint, the next step is to design a better system or process that removes or eases that limitation. So for example, if the teacher lack confidence with ICT, the solution may be on more peer mentoring and hands-on training. But if the school appliances or policies are too rigid, leadership may need to revise guidelines to allow flexibility in using ICT. But if the infrastructure is unreliable, the change might involve standardizing the devices or investing in better support. So this step is about crafting practical targeted solutions. And next step, step 3 is how to bring about the change. This is now about to make it happen. Now it's time to implement the solutions. This includes gaining support from leadership and staff, allocating resources and roles, providing professional development, monitoring progress, and adjusting as needed. So it's not enough to have a good idea. You need to coordinate people, time, and energy to put into action. The focus here is on execution and follow through, ensuring the improvement actually takes hold. Understanding the balance between cost and value in information and technology is very important. Information and technology is divided into two parts. First, information. This is the content, knowledge, or data being used. Technologies, these are the tools and systems that is used to manage the information. So why it is important to think in a cost benefit terms. So when integrating ICT in education, it's important to ask, is the value of the information we're providing through ICT worth the time and effort it takes to process, store, and maintain it? Are the benefits of the technology, like faster communication, easier access, or improved accuracy, worth the cost, such as the hardware, the training, maintenance, and system failure? So this kind of cost benefit thinking helps schools make smarter decisions. A research that was conducted wherein a school evaluated the performance of their ICT setups by collecting technical data like computer specifications, startup and load times for key software and website installed in the computer, as well as the internet download speeds. So why is it important? Because slow or inconsistent devices just waste time. This study found out that fewer high quality reliable machines were better than having many poor quality ones. So the author suggests that the fewer laptops and more mobile personalized devices like tablets or smartphones aligns with how the students use their technology in everyday life is important. They also suggest that separating roles between the technicians and the ICT coordinator is important. That if you are a technician, you should only handle technical issues, but if you are an ICT coordinator, just focus on teaching and learning with ICT. So this separation of roles avoids teachers on wasting valuable class time just to troubleshoot the technical issue. So the conclusion here is that for ICT integration to be successful in school, it's not about having the most or newest devices, but it's about maximizing the value of information and minimizing technological friction. And of course, making smart strategic decisions based on what is important to enhance student learning. Students cannot be easily impressed by ICT because they've grown up with it. It's normal to them. So teachers may misjudge ICT's impact, assuming it's more engaging than it actually is. If a teacher is not confident with technology, they can still be effective by learning alongside with the students. So these models a peer learning culture and can empower students to become mentors as well. So for example, this is a story about Tommy, who is an 8-year student or grade 8 student in a secondary school, who is a 14 years old student displaying behavioral management problem, and most of the teacher consider him as handful. Here comes now a new teacher who is skilled with using GPS. So rather than making Tommy sit around, he demonstrated the use of GPS and introduced this child to the fascination of GPS. So now Tommy was asked to map out the cross country course for the forthcoming of the athletics carnival in the school. So the success of this was inspirational as some of his teachers complimented Tommy as inspirational. So the self-esteem of Tommy was lifted. So his sense of empowerment, validated by his teacher, um, really uplift his behavior in class and in school in general. So this really goes to shows how motivation can really help the child improve. So as teachers, we should always try to motivate and raise the self-esteem of our student and give him ownership and to demonstrate something exceptional to other students as well. Let's break down now what we can learn from the case of Tommy, especially in ICT knowledge and skills. So, ICT skills can't be picked up casually, they need structured instruction, practice, and repetition. So, ICT skills like using spreadsheets or other digital tools are not intuitive in nature for many students. So, without proper guidance and repeated practice, students may not develop a solid understanding. So just giving students access to technology isn't enough. They need formal lessons and time to build competence. Next, teachers need to prepare to teach basic operations, not just set ICT basics based tasks. So sometimes teachers assume that students already know how to use technological tools like opening files, formatting documents, or other things. So instead of only assigning tasks that require ICT, teachers must also teach how to perform those tasks, especially for beginners in ICT. Next is investing in ICT skills build students' confidence and capability, making the technology more useful in the long run, just like what happened again to Tommy. So, when students are taught ICT skills properly, they gain the confidence to use digital tools effectively. So this capability not only helps in school but also prepares them for future work and life where digital literacy is essential. So therefore, teaching ICT is an investment that pays off later. Research shows that many students learn ICT skills at home, often from family members, especially in early grades. 70% of grade 3, 8 years old interviewed in a research project identified an older member of their family as the prime source of learning how to use computers. By grade 5, this had dropped to 50%, but the figure for learning someone's home remained high. So the implementation is that ICT at home represents a substantial learning opportunity. So why is home learning important for ICT learning? So there is a greater access. So there is if there is a greater access, there is more time to explore and use these devices. And of course, more learning. And of course, there's social support. So parents, siblings, and other extended family member can help with the learning of the students. Of course, it's also include that there is faster learning because there is consistency and there is a stress-free environment that promotes self-managed learning. Most importantly, the real-life relevance. So home use leads to more authentic and meaningful skill development. So what we can get here is that we should make ICT work not just in the classroom but also integrate ICT inside their own comfort of their home. So um, we should create an environment of shared learning where teachers and students can grow together inside the classroom and of course their home, so we can leverage this home environment as an important or an informal way of learning, but that is also powerful extension of the classroom. There are a lot of problems the teacher face when integrating ICT in their teaching practice. This includes infrastructure issues like slow internet, unreliable devices. It also includes the usability problems like forgotten password, inappropriate configurations, as well as the logistical obstacles and the human limitations like knowledge to troubleshooting and memory failures. These issues often co-occur, making problem solving even more difficult. So the reliability here in this context means being able to use ICT tools seamlessly during brief teaching moments, just like the windows of opportunity. What does windows of opportunity mean? So, in classrooms, windows of opportunity refers to the short, structured periods of time during which students are actively engaged in learning tasks. So, these windows are cumulative, tightly scheduled, and fragile. So, they are the small time frames that teachers rely on to effectively teach, and students need to stay focused. So, why are these windows of opportunity important? So, lessons are made up of small steps. One task leads to another. So, if one fails, it disrupts the whole flow of the teaching process. So, students' engagement is fragile. So, losing students' attention even in a short period of time, really ruin the flow of the discussion. So if technology fails during these windows of opportunity, it's often too late to fix the problem. But you still need to complete the task. So the time it takes to solve a technical issues is usually longer than the teaching moment itself. So the flow shouldn't be ruined and there shouldn't be any technical issues because we cannot lose the opportunity wherein the student's engagement is at peak. So what are the things that disrupt these windows of opportunity? First is access and permissions. This includes the forgotten passwords, lock accounts, and lack of authority. Next is device availability. There is not enough devices for all students or the good ones are in use. Next is connectivity problems like Wi-Fi or slow internet connections. as well as the software hardware issues like incompatible file types, outdated machines, and missing drivers. It is also a problem with human errors like students can't remember the file names or where they save their work. Next is maintenance problems like dead batteries, no paper in printer, and cluttered hard drives. Next is filtering restrictions. These include teachers' plan around online resources, but student logins are blocked. Next are training gaps. So students or teachers don't know how to use the devices or at least troubleshoot it. Next is version conflict. So files made in newer software but often in older machines. And lastly, poor task design. So tasks are too complex for the short time or tools are not available. So how can we improve the reliability of these ICT tools? First, look at your time. Does it fit the lesson's time slot? Meaning, is the technology fast and efficient enough to be used within the limited time of your lesson? Why it matters? Because if a device takes too long to set up or it needs a lot of troubleshooting, it can only disrupt the learning. So what you should do is test the device before the class and have backups ready if something takes too long. Second, the place. Is the device ready where it is needed? Meaning, is the equipment available and functioning in the actual classroom? Why it matters? Because technology is only useful if it works where you plan to use it. So therefore, you should ensure that projectors, internet, or laptops are set up and tested in a specific room. Third, functionality. Does it actually support the learning goal? Meaning, does the device help student learn better or faster, or it is just a flashy tool in your teaching practice? Why it matters? Because technology should enhance the lesson and not distract the teaching process. So you should choose tools that matches only your learning objectives. Fourth is the accessibility. Can everyone use it without delays? Do all students have working device and do you have internet access? Because delays from missing logins or broken equipment can only waste time and leave students behind. So before your lesson, check that all students are set up ahead of time and have what they need to participate fully. Lastly, user knowledge. Do people know how to use it? Meaning, are teachers and students familiar with the tool or app? Because a powerful tool is useless if no one knows how to use it. So, what you should do is provide training or start small with simple technological tools and build up as skills grow. That's all for my topic. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and I hope you learned something from my presentation.